Yeah. Okay. We are live now? Okay, good. Okay. So I'll move into the agenda as presented to the public and council. Land acknowledgement, the District of Sechelt is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Sechelt Nation. We respect the histories, language, and culture of the people of the Sechelt Nation, whose presence continues, as always, to enrich this community. Okay, council, I have the agenda in front of us. So call to order and declaration of conflict and the adoption of the agenda as presented. Committee, thank you. Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Bell, okay, all in favor of the agenda as presented? Thank you. Okay, great. So I'm going to read the Pride Month proclamation, sorry. But, I think, oh, there it is. It's on the back of this. Okay. The District of Sechelt and the Sunshine Coast as a whole has a large, diverse, multi-ethnic, multi-generational, 2S LGBTQIA, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, asexual, plus community who honor our culture and our histories, which are vibrant and distinct. And traditionally in June, Sunshine Coast Pride Month celebrates the 2SL LGBTQI1 plus people, arts, culture, and recreation, providing opportunities for the whole community to identify and connect with each other and social and emotional, whereas social and emotional, intellectual, cognitive, and financial factors are key in the disproportionate risk for mental health concerns, including loneliness, anxiety, depression, substance use addiction, and suicide within the 2SL LGBTQIA plus youth population. And whereas Sunshine Coast Pride Month provides vital opportunities for the T2SL youth and families to identify and connect with 2SL peers and elders, enabling a sense of belonging and helping to mitigate these risk factors, recognizing that strong community saves lives. Now, therefore, I'm assuming this is Mayor Henderson, but also me as chair, proclaim the month of June 2025 as Sunshine Coast Pride Month in the District of Sechelt. And there's John's signature, the mayor's signature, who's unable to be here today. Thank everyone for your patience with that. I've never, I don't usually read out proclamations like that. I recognize them a lot, but I think this is an important one. So I was introducing it to the audience here. And I would add that there was a flag raising today at noon. I drove by, I didn't see the flag. Am I confused? It's up there, okay. It's below the Canadian flag or something, is that how it's saying? Right beside it. Okay, great. Okay, I just didn't, good. And also there's a parade coming up too on Sunday.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Yes, they have on Sunday, they have start with the parade and then they have a festival, which they've got a 10-piece band and they've got all kinds of tables and venue or food, all kinds of things. So for all ages.
Do you
So
remember the time, Councilor Bell?
I
I know I'm
One-
taxing you
was it
here.
noon? I think it's
Noon?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone
great.
for,
And that is at Davis Bay.
yeah.
Yes.
Mission Point Park, our park there. Starts at the pier? Okay, great. Thanks, staff and Councilor Bell for highlighting that bit of information to go with our flag raising. It's really important that we recognize diversity and inclusivity in our community. Let's then move on to business item number 5.1, emergency planning, and SCAF representative is here. If you want to come up and introduce yourself. Are you both speaking? Okay. 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 So you introduce yourself, obviously, because it's not just us here that will see this.
Yes,
Thanks.
absolutely. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Catherine Hansen, and I'm here I'm as chair of SCAF. And for those folks that may not know what that stands for, that's the Sechelt Community Associations Forum. And to my left here is Diana Mumford, who is also a member of SCAF, and her focus is on emergency preparedness and community safety. We think that those two go very well together. Why are we here today? We put on an event on May the 10th, and it was very successful. And we would like to share that with you and look for your input as to possible roles that we may have in the future. So again, thank you for having us on your schedule. Greatly appreciate it. So one of the first things, what we wanted to do was tell you how successful it was. And so within this presentation, there are some statements from people that wrote to us and came up to us and still continue to come up to us and thank us for the event. And so one of those comments is, such a great idea from your association. Thank you. And that Anne, and again, that's somebody that purchased the bags. And let me just talk a little bit about the purchasing of these bags. She got 4 of them because now they're looking at them for gifts for their family, for Christmas gifts, that kind of thing. Everybody is realizing the importance of it. And it was interesting. We originally put out a display about how you could build your own. And what we found is people didn't really want to, they would much rather have somebody do it for them. And so that could speak to our demographic. It could just speak to people's lives are busy or they just didn't know what the heck to do. So we were negotiated with 72 Hours, and they were fantastic to work with in organizing this, and got bags at a price that we thought was really reasonable for the population, because we weren't in this to make money. I mean, we would like to make money, but we weren't in it. We were in it to make sure that people were prepared. So a cost of the bag would have cost $135, and we were able to negotiate it for $70. So next slide, please.
Oh, which button?
Oh, okay. Are we going to have to pass your duties over?
Yes, there.
So the day was, again, very, very successful. And we were not only selling bags and people picking up the bags, we also set up kiosks for informational displays. And you'll see all the folks there that were there. We had Fire Smart, Greensleeves Hospice, SARS Marine, Sechelt Fire Department, Society of Roberts Creek Firefighters, and by the way, they were selling those sprinklers that go on your roof, and they brought a few thinking that, oh, well, we'll try selling them. They were sold out. People were demanding them. They thought it was a great idea. So again, it shows how when you bring community together and show them what's available, they buy into it. Suncoast Amateur Radio Club Society, Sunshine Coast Community Solar Association, and the Vancouver Coastal Health. So the other thing that I'd like to note is that at this point is why were we really doing this? Because we all know that SCRD has a role within emergency preparedness. And how we look at it is that they have the role more from a higher level, 50,000-foot viewpoint, linking provincial organizations and when an emergency event occurs, they are there and organized for that. What we felt as SCAF, what we thought was lacking was that there isn't that on the ground neighborhood, next door neighbor, people at the grassroots level actually working together to help each other. And so that's the whole point of this emergency preparedness that SCAF is working on. The preparedness first step is to be prepared yourself. That has to happen first. You can't help anybody if you yourself aren't prepared. The next step that we want to focus on, and it's happening, it's just kind of germinating on its own, is Neighbors Helping Neighbors, where we get small groups of blocks of people in the neighborhood actually establishing a plan for the neighborhood, which is fantastic. So next slide, please. Okay. And so from David McElrath, and we follow this man around constantly. He's an amazing, we're at every event with him. But anyway, he's really dedicated man to Fire Smart. And he came up and personally thanked us and said this was an excellent event for the Fire Smart to connect with residents all over the coast. And that's that partnership that we need to make sure that everybody is educated and prepared, and then in the event of emergency, people understand the roles. The next slide. So how did we do this? Because we do not have a bank account, but what we have is able-bodied people and unbelievable, passionate group of volunteers that work together. And just to let you know, this event, we clocked 500 plus hours of volunteer time over a short period of 2.5 months. It might help that Diana and I were actually working on a joint SCAF council meeting at my house when the earthquake hit. And Diana flew to the ground and I went outside, but anyway, but it happened that galvanized people. That brought people together to really recognize that they needed to be prepared. So the SCAF associations kicked into gear. We organized this and we had amazing amount of volunteers step forward and help us. But the ones I really want to point out are this lovely group of kids over here, the Chatlack Rotary Interact Club. They were just, boy, we don't have to worry about our future. They were, you know, these people they took it on. They worked hard. We didn't see one screen time. Like nobody was doing on their phones or anything. They worked and they had fun too. And it was it's really nice to work with that generation of kids. And because we want to send that message too, that volunteerism and working for your community is really important. So Sonia, Sonia is a visually impaired person, and she wants to thank us so much for organizing such an essential event. Wishing you much success in this endeavor. And so that was really positive. So I know you guys like stats because that's what helps you make decisions. And so we've got some for you. Over 323 emergency kits were sold that day, or sold to a value of $22,610. That they were sold and distributed to residents, not just in Sechelt, but from all over the Sunshine Coast. So we've got Sechelt at 130, Roberts Creek at 30, Gibson's at 26, Half Moon Bay at 6, Madeira Park, Pender Harbor, Garden Bay were 5, some others unknown as 3. And you can see by the photos there that it was a busy day. We reckon we had over 400 people there that day come through the doors. As I spoke earlier, the emergency kits were packaged by 72 hours. And they are a Canadian-based company out of North Vancouver and Burnaby. That too. Someday I'm going to understand BC. Oh, God. Anyway, and they were really a pleasure to deal with. They really wanted to help us. They're a growing organization. We had a few hiccups with them, but you know, they are still there. We have still got people contacting us to buy kits, and they are still supplying them at these good prices. So just hats off to them. That was positive. So Diana, I'm going to let you speak to this. Is yours. This is quite funny.
There was a lady that sent me an email asking to put in an order for her emergency bags. But she said she couldn't send the money right away because she was visiting her daughter on the Sunshine in Australia. And as this worked on, her son also appeared there, and he was ordering bags as well. But they were visiting this family relative on the Sunshine Coast in Australia and ordering bags on the Sunshine Coast here. So it was kind of fun to have happen. And when she came in to pick up her bag, I made sure I got a picture of the two of us because it was sort of like Sunshine Coast talking, because you know, if you go onto Google and you put in Sunshine Coast, you end up in Australia half the time. Well, we did it again.
So we have some huge thank yous to give. SCAF is really, again, we're speaking to the relationship with council and with people in the community. And we want to thank them and council particularly for your unwavering support. Alan Toff and Darren Inkster, they actually donated money from the SCRD constituency funding. Brenda Rowe for photocopying and donation of a roof sprinkler system for the raffle, which by the way, we sold $400 worth, made $400. So that was good. That'll go to something. Jillian Smith of the Sechelt Seniors Activity Center. Isn't she just everywhere? I just can't believe that woman.
She was just right there.
No, no.
Yeah.
Prophetic. What can I say? And anyway, she's an amazing woman. You know, just always there and supporting for the community. Rotary, Lori Faulkner for Interact coordination. And again, hats off to those kids. The Shadlek Rotary Interact members for volunteering their time on the event day, with special thanks to Ella. The Coast Reporter for their coverage, including an editorial, Chapman Creek Salmon Hatchery for the tablecloths. Everybody, every little bit helps when you're putting on an event. And 72 hours for donation of 2 emergency kits for the raffle. So yeah, we're proud of what we accomplished. We know it's important. People have to be prepared. We want to do that next step. We want to get neighborhoods organized. But it could not have been done. It couldn't have been such a success without the amazing support of the Sunshine Coast residents. So when you're talking resident to resident, when you're at the grassroots level, and you are meeting the people's needs, their real needs, they will step up and support you, and they did. So what's next for the SCAF with emergency preparedness and community safety? Because we see those quite linked, interlinked, intermeshed. What we see is there's a need to have a focused attention on action at the neighborhood level to ensure that people are safe, either in their neighborhood or in the event of an emergency. Volunteers are vital but dedicated, and ongoing financial support is essential for long-term and ongoing success. So we are here to say, love to hear your comments. Diana, is there anything
No, I
you'd like
think
to add?
I think it's been said. Yeah.
And so we'll hear from you, and we have a bit of an idea, but I'd like to hear from you folks first, if you have any questions or.
Okay, thanks for presenting. And it is funny, the community connection with your group. I mean, up to last weekend, you weren't sure you were coming. And so 3 of us see each other at an event and make that and sort of talk to each other and realize that you weren't clear. So we talked to Adam and we figured it out by Monday. So it just shows the connection with all of us within our community, which is really key to how we're working together. Thank you for this. And obviously you have some information presented. And I know Adam stuck up his hand twice, so he's got the first question. Yeah.
Thanks, through the chair. I mean, fantastic event. Anything that helps bind communities like that at a grassroots level, I think is terrific. You know, there's a real limitation, I think, about what governments can do. And this is a really important initiative. And I think it's really reinvented a reason for the community associations to be. So, but my question actually is through the chair to staff. I thought there was a resolution after the CIP grants that we were going to take a look at what could be done for the community associations. And I think it was going to come back to council. Just wondering if that is in process or, thanks.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I'd be interested in council's direction on that because you wanted to have a conversation about that. So if that direction is to put it on an upcoming agenda, we would be happy to do that. Just want to make sure that you guys are ready for the conversation.
Shepherd.
Follow up. I think it was actually Councillor Rowe's suggestion that we take a look at taking some money out of, you know, council travel funds in order to fund what the community stations were looking for. So yeah, I think we should have that. If we could table that or get it onto the next community or committee of the whole, that would be, I'd love to pursue that.
So it wasn't, staff was waiting for something from us, so I would ask you to make a motion to that effect then, if you could.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we bring, table that conversation or the idea of funding the community associations, the amount that they were looking for at the next committee of the whole.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Bells. Is that clear to staff as to what Councillor Shepherd was proposing there? I mean, he spoke to it, but he referenced tabling. So is that clear? Yeah,
Did you have a dollar amount in mind?
yeah.
I believe the amount that was, if I could,
5,000.
5,000.
Okay. Everyone's clear, council's clear. We did discuss it previously. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, thanks. Any other comments or questions, Councillor Toth?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm both A little disappointed and also extremely grateful for the fact that you and I were able to provide funding through constituency allowance to support this. It turned out, you know, in previous years, the SCRD had a small funding program to be able to support initiatives like this, as sort of a trial thing. And for 2025, that funding program lapsed and just was never on anybody's radar to bring it forward for renewal. So I know that the board has already asked for a budget proposal to come forward to reinstate some funding for 2026. So hopefully, you know, going forward, we won't have to raid the constituency allowance to make it work for you guys. But I'm glad we were able to support you in the manner that we were. And
Yeah, thank you.
I was only able to stop by for a few minutes, but it looked like it was going really well when I was there, and you know, everybody was positive. So not too many people scared about emergency, you know. So thank you.
Counselor Bell.
And I've said this many times, but I also want to give my great appreciation for all of the work that you have done and what you do for this community. And I particularly like that you do it with such an inclusiveness perspective, because having volunteers involved is not something that's been very easy to manage these days. They just are busy, and you know, volunteers are really the backbone of communities. I worked with the YMCA for 25 years, and they were the backbone of a YMCA, and they are absolutely precious. So I think the fact that you've got so many volunteers and says a lot about your leadership. So well done on that. And the fact that you engage the youth. I love that. I would like to see the youth engage more and more in, you know, opportunities like this where they know they're giving back, because they have such incredible desire to do that. They just don't always know what the path is. So thank you for providing that and for everything that you do. I appreciate it.
The Rotary kids were just amazing,
yeah.
and they have actually sent me emails saying, thank you for letting us help you. And if there's anything more, please let us know. So a dynamic group, and we are going to go in and spoil them a little bit tomorrow at their last meeting of the year, because they were just so dynamic in our group, and they are a good sign of where we're going, both for our society, but also for the volunteer process that we go through. So they seem to understand, and they sure were willing to help. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, they've certainly, that group anyways, learned the service above self at a young age.
Yeah.
And there's lots of kudos from council. Do we have any questions of the two other ladies who have come to present to us? Councilor McLaughlin.
Yes, I'm just wondering, are you folks now a registered charity by chance?
Yes,
Could
we
you
are.
take donations?
No, can't take donations,
No.
but we are a society, so that
Ah.
means that we can do the gaming, raffling, that type of thing. And maybe this would be a good time for me to say that we scour looking for places that we can apply for things. And there's a BC gaming, community gaming grant available right now. And it's interesting, it's in different categories, and one of the categories is for emergency preparedness and community safety. And we can get up to $120,000 for it, but you have to have a proven track record. So that's something that we would like to bring to council, is to say, would you guys like to write letters of support for us? I've talked to Andy Bellerby, and he's excited about having SCAF work with him at a community level. He wants to move up. He wants to support us. There's no doubt about that, but given the funding situation there. So we're hoping that we can develop a grant proposal by the end of June that would support that, and then that would help with emergency preparedness, not just in the district of Sechelt, but throughout the Sunshine Coast.
Okay, do you want to make a formal request to us ask for those letters of support, so that when it comes back to us in a couple of weeks, I'm not sure when the next meeting is. Is it in a couple of weeks from now? in the next committee of the whole? Because we're nearing the end of the month. That's why I was trying to figure it out. I don't know off the top of my head. But the motion that was made previously by Councillor Shepherd will be discussing funding for your group. Perhaps if you could send us some letters, a letter of request for us to give letters to you of support so that you could,
For future, for future
Yeah.
gaming, or
Gaming
future
funds.
granting opportunities.
yeah, well, the gaming in specific, because they give it a lot of money and there's no
Yeah.
reason why your group wouldn't qualify.
Yeah.
Okay, if
Yeah.
you can do that, then staff will write it to us and perhaps it'll be part of that package.
Okay.
And we can deal with those two things. Any other questions of the committee, Councillor McLaughlin?
I was going to ask the SCRD members, I was just at an emergency, community safety emergency preparedness discussion before this meeting. And how we interlock with the SCRD funding and actions, I think is important to note in your application. Because if you can show comprehensively how this all works together, that would be helpful to all of us because we're working to weave it together. And also it would help your application as well. So I think if we could get a little more detail on that, however, I think it would really help a lot.
Yeah.
I know the schools also apply for that and there's a lot of schools and they use it
Yeah, and then
routinely.
that might be a different category. so it
Yeah,
can be
but it's the
separate.
gaming funds, right?
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
But your point is well taken.
Yeah.
And we
Great.
too have been looking for language, how to explain that. So
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, I know. I'm
we've-
not saying it's easy, but I did get one of your backpacks. It was great. I think the main thing I really appreciated was the wind up radio. And I've been looking on the coast for that and I had an old one. The batteries are gone, can't be replaced. So I really appreciate that. It was,
Thank you.
and I have other neighbors that are looking for that in particular. So it's just a wonderful bag. Thank you.
Are there any other questions of the group that's come to us? You have one more question? Okay, Councillor Todd.
Thank you. And Councillor McLaughlin actually brought it up, but if people are still interested in acquiring bags, can they email you? Like, are you guys thinking about doing another batch order or something like that?
Well, Diana, you want to talk to that about the?
We actually have just had that conversation. We are thinking about maybe getting a booth in the farmer's market on a Saturday and bringing in another batch of bags because we too are getting people coming to us and I want more. And so I think we can do that. It's just a matter of getting the process and then having somewhere to do it. Because we obviously aren't going to rent another room, but if we can get into the farmer's market, that would be one place where we could connect with community. And we found a lot of the vendors in the farmer's market were very interested, but they couldn't come to us because they were working in the farmer's market. So I think there's still a good interest and I know that 72 Hours is wanting to continue to work with us. So I think we can make it happen if we can just get a place to do it. We almost need like a pop-up place.
Yeah, well, it's common,
Yeah.
pop-up places, so it's an idea that will work. So any other questions of this group? I just wanted to give you some time. We only had a couple items today with the important proclamation. Half an hour should be something that we can spend with our associations and to recognize them. Councillor Shepherd has another question.
Sorry
I
to.
don't even have to look at him. I felt it. I felt it.
Through the chair, I'm just wondering how the sign program is going, the community signs, putting up the
The bulletin boards?
bulletin boards.
Okay.
Do you really want an answer?
The bulletin boards. So where it was left is we got some help with, where it was left is we have to, as a community association, we had to contact TELUS, the water, hydro, to see if there was anything underneath that would be problematic or sightlines. So those maps were, that I've dealt with that, I've been dealing with that, but unfortunately what they do is they just send you back a bunch of maps and it's basically, and you're on your own. So what we're doing is we've got a group, they don't actually take where the actual position of the bulletin board is and say, yes, it's safe to dig there. They just give you the maps and you have to interpret them. So since we have 3 planners on our community associations, they are busy deciphering the maps, and hopefully we will try to get our first one up. We're going to try to pick a place where there's not much underground structure, And there's been one there already, and we just want to get one up so that we can say, here we go. And we would like to make sure that there's a photography, you know, a photo session and everything and get going. So now that this event is done, that is the next focus.
Okay. Let's see how that goes. And just congratulations to your group again. I don't think your emergency planning and activities are done because that's why we did this, because many of us are concerned about what we will do in case of a fire, earthquake, etc. So don't go away, your group, and don't move on to anything else. Maybe do the signs as well as this, because we do need the public's volunteerism and help as we move forward to deal with climate change.
Yeah.
So thanks again and keep involved.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate being able to present to you. Thank you.
And don't forget that email to council about that soiree you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Up at
Well-
the game before we come over.
Oh, wow, yeah, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, council, we have a 5.2 in front of us, draft annual reports. Just a question. I received an email before the meeting that the administrator also received. There's a number of questions in that. So if I could inquire as to the root of the answer to those questions, would they come back to us next time? Or there were a number of questions from the mayor. So he sent me a number of questions that I'm not going to go through here because it was in an email we just received. But I can send it to whoever we send it to get those questions answered. I just need to know where that should go. I think council may have seen the email or maybe was busy. So I looked and I saw the questions. There's a number of them, but I'm not going to go through them here, but there's a number of questions. It's just on the annual report, typical questions about pictures and things like that and corrections and yeah. So to you, then, you want me to send it to you, Carrie Ann? Yeah.
Yes, I believe sending it to the council email address will include all senior management to review those as well.
Okay, so just taking that email and sending it back through the same system. I think it came to the council though. Yeah, yeah. You just did that? Okay, there we go. So so there is questions, but I'm not going to go through them here, but there are questions that maybe staff can answer. Thanks. Okay, let's go and then can I have a motion to receive the 2024 annual report to start this? Councillor Toth? Councillor Shepherd, all in favor of receipt? Okay, great, thanks. Any questions or did staff want to speak to this? Did you want to speak to this? Oh, you want to speak to this, Ms. Polson then?
I didn't have anything prepared, but I am
Okay.
happy to say that I believe that our communications manager has done a fantastic job pulling together all of the highlights of all the many, many things that we accomplished over the last year. And it's been really helpful to have our quarterly reports to build that list from. And unfortunately, we're only able to select the highlights for our annual report, but some pretty interesting projects and statistics in there. And we would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks. Thanks. Good report, all, and communications for putting the information together that the staff on an ongoing basis prepares, excuse me. Any questions then? Councillor Bell?
No questions, just a comment.
Yeah.
I want to comment. I think it's tremendous. I like the pictures that accompany the stories. I just think it personalizes who we are. And I really, really enjoy that format. So thank you for that. It's a great job.
Any other questions? Everyone is very happy with this report, it looks like. The council picture, will we just leave that the whole term? Yeah. We look frozen in time there, yeah. Yeah. That was taken inauguration, I think, soon after. Just a question, is there a plan? Maybe we might want to or not want to get an updated picture for 2025. Councillor Shepherd.
Other than pictures, through the chair, I have camera on the brain because of what's going on at the Community Safety Committee. And I'm just sort of going through the amazing number of things that staff are doing. That we have cameras in Friendship Park. How are those okay? How do those not breach the sort of regulations on pulling in community information that we've been learning about? So I'm having a problem sort of understanding, we're taking a look at a pilot project for cameras, but we're understanding that cameras in public places that are operated by the district are, there's breach numerous regulations, but we already have cameras. How do those not breach sort of privacy rules? Thanks.
Page that you're referencing in this?
Is it mentioned in here? Is there pictures from our camera systems? Okay. Okay, so Councillor Shepherd's going to find that. Do we have any other questions? Starting from a place of no questions, I don't know how I'm going to
Sorry,
delay
top
along
of
that.
page 15.
Ah, there we go. Good. Top of page 15. So obviously those are probably in to deal with vandalism, and who wants to speak to this then? I'm not sure who installed them. You want to speak to that then? Okay.
Certainly. So most of our district facilities do have cameras with the intention of protecting those municipal assets from vandalism, as you mentioned, and theft, any sort of things like that. So they are a part of our privacy program. It's just a different purpose than the community safety aspect. The provision of cameras in public spaces not attached to the protection of a municipal facility is a little bit different ballgame.
Yeah. That's obviously in reference to if something's happens there, a crime is committed, we can use the footage most likely, but if it's just general things that happen in the community, unless you want to go knock over some garbage cans on Cowrie in the middle of the night, Councillor Shepherd, we can figure some cameras.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that? I know that it's a good question because it's been discussed at Community Safety Committee, and Councillor Shepherd was introducing other areas in their camera systems that they were utilizing. So maybe a way to cut down on some crime going forward. Any other questions? Okay. I'll just move then back to the agenda as presented because we received the report, questions were asked. And sure, if you want to do a motion to adopt, then after receipt, now the questions have been asked. Councillor Toth, yep.
The intention of the receipt of the annual report today is actually kicking off our public inspection period. So the plan was to have that open for, actually we'll have more than the minimum 15 days required in the charter. We'll have a couple of ads in the paper to make sure everybody is aware that the annual report is out. And then we will suggest consideration of adoption of the annual report at our AGM. I believe it'll be June 16th.
You rescind that? Okay, yeah, can't adopt it for a little bit, but it's been received, and thanking staff again for that. Any other questions? Okay, thanks staff for that. Let's then move to adjournment. Councillor Toth, Councillor Bell, all in favor of adjournment? Thanks everybody. All in favor, unanimous. Okay, any questions?